In this importing orders lesson, we'll discuss concepts for capturing orders, including order import and transformation. The objectives for this lesson are as follows. You should be able to explain how orders are imported, explain the differences between direct web service integration versus file-based data import, also be able to explain business-to-business messaging, and understand how to set up sequences of sales order numbers. This graphic shows a complete range of capabilities across the order-to-cash process. You get this end-to-end functionality when Oracle Fusion Cloud Order Management is integrated with other Oracle Fusion Cloud SCM applications. Keep in mind that activities like credit checks, transportation planning, and compliance screening can run into parallel with order submission, and they can also occur during fulfillment. To support this, Oracle provides pre-built integrations with the applications that are shown here. In this course, we'll focus on a specific set of applications as we walk through the order management and fulfillment flow. We'll also call out the upstream and downstream applications that integrate with that flow. In this lesson, our focus is on order import. This chart highlights where order import fits into the overall flow. Importing is one of the ways you can capture orders in order management. Some common options include direct web service integration, file-based data import, business-to-business messaging, and staging orders. Once orders are imported, order management automatically transforms the data so that it's ready for the next step in the process. Our first topic will be order import methods. You can bring in virtually any order that was created in an external channel system using several supported methods, including direct web service integration, file-based data import, application development framework web service, and business-to-business messaging, including the electronic data interchange messaging framework. You can use ADF or SOA web services to import source orders as part of direct web service integration with your order management implementation. You'll need to create a connector service to integrate channel systems with Oracle Order Management. Oracle provides a connector service that supports using configure price quote as a channel system. You then set up and configure that connector to integrate your channel system with Oracle Fusion Cloud Order Management. With file-based data import, you can upload new orders, update orders you've already imported, and cancel order lines that were previously imported. In this lesson, the practice activity focuses on uploading new orders. For an example of canceling order lines using this method, refer to the documentation on docsoracle.com. Here's the overall sequence of tasks shown on the slide. First, create the order file using the provided template. Then, generate the upload package from the template. Upload the package to Universal Content Management account using Tools, File Import, and Export. Then, run the scheduled processes that transfers the file contents into the interface tables. Then run the scheduled process that moves data files from the interface tables into the base tables. Finally, review the linked output file to confirm which orders succeeded or failed and to troubleshoot any errors. You'll find the template file in the file directory on the remote desktop. The template also includes tips and guidance for the full end-to-end file-based data import process. To upload your file, go to Tools and select File Import and Export, then create a new upload request. You'll set two parameters, one to choose the file and one to choose the account. For the account, select SCM Source Sales Order Import. Next, run the load interface file for import schedule process to move the order data from your uploaded file into the interface tables. Set the following parameters: import process equal to import sales order, and data file equal to the name of the file you uploaded. When you select the import process, the data file list is automatically filtered to show only files from the correct account. Then, you'll run the import sales order schedule process to move data from the interface tables into the base tables. For this step, you must provide at least one of these parameters: batch name, source system, or source order number. This is important because a single uploaded file can include multiple sets of orders. Finally, review the log output. It will show which orders imported successfully and which ones failed, along with the error details that you'll need to troubleshoot. Another way to import orders is by using Oracle Collaboration Messaging Framework, which enables Oracle Fusion Cloud to exchange business-to-business messages with your trading partners. Here's how it works. Use Collaboration Messaging Framework to send sales orders, updates, and cancellations between trading partners. Start by setting up Collaboration Messaging Framework. Then, use the schedule process to import those orders into order management. This method is typically used for orders that haven't already been priced in Oracle Pricing Administration. Our next topic is Order Import Flow. This graphic walks through the order import flow from start to finish. The first step is Channel Order Set. The order is submitted from an upstream channel system. Next, cross-referencing value to ID mapping. The import process transforms item information using the product model and cross-references customer and master data using the trading community model and the order management and planning data repository. Next, pre-transformation defaulting. The system automatically defaults values on the incoming order. For example, it might assign a shipment priority based on the customer item. Based on the business requirements and the complexity involved in deciding which warehouse or inventory organization to fulfill a particular order, one of the following three approaches can be used. First, map warehouse details in the sales order payload used while importing the order into Fusion Order Management from an external system if these details are available in the upstream order capture system. Second, if very simple logic can be used to select the shipping warehouse, then the pre-transformation rules can be configured to default the supply warehouse during order submission. Pre-transformation rules will be covered in more detail later in the course. And third, if more complex and dynamic logic is needed to select the shipping warehouse, then use sourcing rules and ATP rules in global order promising to determine the fulfillment warehouse. The role of GOP setup components will be explained in detail later in the course. Moving to the next step, order transformation, add lines. Here, sales order lines are transformed into fulfillment lines. A single sales order line, for example a laptop, might become multiple fulfillment lines for the laptop, AC adapter, and mouse. Item structure explosion for included items, which is the product hub. If included items are defined in Product Information Management as part of the product structure or the BOM, importing the parent item can automatically add the included items during transformation. Continuing with the next step, configurator validations. Configurator validates sales order lines for configured models. Post-transformation defaulting. Additional defaults are applied after new lines are created. Default tax determinants. Tax determinants from pricing administration are populated for each line. Draft order validations. Order management validates the required data is present and consistent. Extension point on save. Here, you can add custom logic to default attributes or enforce business rules. And finally, save order. This is the first point where the order is saved in the process. This flow applies to importing standard items. Later in the lesson, we'll cover what changes when you import other item types. Transformation is covered in the transformation lesson, and extensions are covered in extending order management. Our next topic is important considerations for order import. Here are a few special things to know about importing coverage and subscription fulfillment lines. You can import coverage lines for both standard items and configured coverage items. You can import coverage for immediate coverage start dates or delayed coverage. The document reference type attribute links the coverage line to the specific covered line. During import, the system captures key service details such as service duration, duration period, and billing periodicity. The application also runs validations that can prevent you from saving the order or submitting the order, depending on what's missing or invalid. When you import coverage for configured covered items, there are a few key points to keep in mind. If the source order is already priced in an upstream system, the incoming order payload must include coverage for each configured option. For example, every option class or option item that's enabled for contract coverage. If the order is not priced upstream, the payload only needs the root coverage, that is, the coverage line for the root model of the covered item. From there, cascading logic in order management automatically creates the child coverage lines for each configured option that's enabled for contract coverage. For reference, the graphic on the slide highlights the different configure to order types. You can also use order import to modify or cancel coverage lines for both standard and configured items. If the associated covered line is modified or canceled, the related coverage line is automatically modified or canceled as well. However, you can also modify or cancel a coverage line independently without changing or canceling its associated covered line. If a customer wants to terminate coverage, they do that by returning the coverage item. They can return the coverage by itself, or they can return the covered item, and in that case, the associated coverage is returned automatically. For an automatic return triggered by returning the covered item, if the order was pre-priced upstream, the import payload must include the return line and the return lines for any valid associated coverages. If the order was priced by Oracle Pricing Administration, the payload only needs the covered item return line. Order management will automatically create return lines for all associated valid coverages. For a coverage-only return, the payload includes just the return line or lines for the coverage item. This works whether the original order was pre-priced or priced by Oracle Pricing Administration. The return coverage line uses these document reference types: original sales order, source coverage covered association, which points to item, and one important limitation: you can't import returns using the B2B messaging framework. B2B messaging supports orders that are priced with the Oracle Fusion Cloud system. As a note, a customer is also allowed to order a subscription item by itself without also having an associated coverage on the order. You need to be aware of how revisions are made to an order. As an example, you might start with importing an order using FBDI. Then, on the next day, you utilize order management to manually modify the imported sales order, increasing the item quantity from 1 to 10, then resubmitting the order revision. The following day, you once again use FBDI to the customer ship-to address. However, the last spreadsheet you used for the initial import still contains the original item quantity of 1. The imported revision will now incorrectly change the current order's quantity of 10 back to 1. Therefore, you'll need to clearly establish rules around how and when you use revised orders through the import function using FBDI. You can control how many parallel runs order management can execute for the load interface file for import schedule processing source orders. Order management takes the total number of orders and divides that number by the maximum instances you allow. That result determines how many orders each process instance handles. The next topic is the sequencing of sales order numbers. In order management, you can configure the starting number for your sales order numbering sequences. Orders then receive a sales order number based on that setup in two situations: after source orders are imported and transformed into order management, or when an order entry specialist creates a new order manually. There is a profile option configuration named Retain Sales Order Number for Orchestration Order Number. You can apply it or to each user. If you set the value to yes, the system will use the source order number that you import from as the order number during and after transformation. Order management will display the source order number throughout the order management work area after transforming and during order fulfillment. If you set the value to no, meaning don't use the source order number as the order number during or after transformation, then order management will assign a new order number for the source order and display the new number throughout the order management work area after transformation and during order fulfillment. When importing orders from external systems, such as supplier systems or external order entry systems, regardless of how you want to use the source order number in order management, it is always best to map the customer purchase order number whenever available. Having the customer purchase order number available management and from there into downstream systems like inventory management, transportation management, warehouse management, etc. will help you easily build EDI integrations with your customers because critical EDI formats such as EDI 856, 855, 857, 860, etc. require purchase order numbers as part of the payload to ensure a reliable and consistent exchange of information. For generating customer-facing documents and labels such as bill of lading, packing slips, pallet labels, etc. from downstream systems. To enhance your knowledge for this lesson, the following student practices are included in your activity guide: importing an order using the file-based method, examining the file-based data import, and examining the file-based data import log file. To summarize our lesson, you should now have an understanding of the following: be able to explain how orders are imported, explain the differences between direct web service integration versus